Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on our next edition of Let's Connect. Today, we're connecting with Pinal County Supervisor Jeff McClure.
Jeff is a friend of ours for a long time. We got to know him through his wife, Barbara McClure, who runs Impact of Southern Arizona, and Diana Charbonneau. Welcome, good to see you. Jeff was elected to Pinal County's Board of Supervisors from representing District 4. He was elected in November. Jeff served 8 years on the Oracle School Board. He and Barbara have lived in Eagle Crest Ranch since 2008. Jeff had a great career of self-employment spanning 30 years. He's semi-retired in 2007. They did a year-long trip, is that right, Jeff, in a motorhome?
Right.
And
Yep.
trying to find where the next place was, and they came to Greater Catalina here, and it's so great to have them both with us. Jeff's going to speak briefly, and he's got a little PowerPoint presentation, and then we'll do some Q&A and learn what it's like to be Pinal County Supervisor. So, ladies and gentlemen, give a round of applause to Jeff McClure, please.
Thank you. That's very quiet applause with all your mics muted. You know, that's kind of, anyway, thank you. Thanks for having me, Dave and Kristen, appreciate it. Yeah, so you don't know me. Some of you don't know me, Jeff McClure. I have been around for a while. And like Dave says, you probably know me through Impact of Southern Arizona. When we moved here in 2008, my wife Barbara decided she needed something to do, and she decided she'd like to go work for the food bank and volunteer. And then they said, hey, we're going to get a new executive director. And she thought, well, that'd be fun. So she jumped in that. And so that was in 2010. And so then I became a volunteer at Impact, and I've been doing that ever since. I drive trucks, move refrigerators, haul food, hook up printers, do whatever, and show up at different events. And that's been a fun thing. And then one day I went crazy and decided somebody talked me into becoming a precinct committeeman. And I said, I'm fine with my pool and my RV, really. And they said, no, you know, you need to be a precinct committeeman. I said, okay. So I did that. And then they said, well, gosh, you know, listening to all the people talk, and they said, oh, you know, the Oracle School District is going crazy. It's going downhill. And I said, why? And they said, well, it's just terrible. So I sat in on a couple board meetings and said, okay, I'll run. And I sat there for 8 years and enjoyed the heck out of it. Hey, JJ, how you doing? And I wound up being the president of the school board for 5 years of those 8 years. And we really turned things around and made a difference in those kids' lives and in the community. And while I was doing all that, I was also involved in the county politics, just because that's what happens when you do all that. I was a district chairman for the precinct committeeman for 6 years. And I would watch the Board of Supervisors operate and thought, okay, you know, they do pretty well, but I think maybe I could do better. And I thought about it about 5 years ago, but my mother-in-law was ill and one of our kids was getting married. I couldn't handle all that, so that I'll wait, and built up some more support. And so then I ran this last year. I actually started campaigning in February of 19 to run. And I was very fortunate that I did that, because then, you know, that COVID thing happened. And so everybody was shut down, but I had a year to campaign freely before everything got shut down. So I got my name out there, and I will show you this. Let's see, will I? Oh, dang it. Where'd it go? There we go. Okay. Let's see if I can do this. Kristen, what do I do? Oh, there it goes. Hey, look at that. So, you know, here's you guys down here at the bottom, Pima County, and here's Pinal. Let's get back. Where did she hide that? Oh, there. So there's Pinal County. Well, it was there. So if you look, that blue area there at the bottom, this big area, this is my district. I live clear over here in that little spot down in the corner. Can you see that? Okay, so this is Saddlebrook, and this is the biosphere back in here, and this is the Florence Road as you come up Oracle all the way out here to Florence. This is the county seat. So I have an office clear over here. My main county complex office is over there. They built a brand new building, so there I am. I've got 63,000 people that live over here, And then I've got Tohono O'odham Nation here. I've got the Ak-Chin Nation here. I've got, this is Stanfield right down in, down here. So, oh, Stanfield's right here. This is all Tohono O'odham. This is all Tohono O'odham. This is Red Rock and the Pinal Air Park, and then a bunch of mountain range, and then back to me. A lot of open space, very diverse. So I've got retired here, some industry here. I've got, oh, Arizona City back up in here. These people have their own interests. They're swallowed up by Eloy all around them. They don't want to be incorporated. So they're trying to stay out of that mix. These folks over here are just growing like crazy. Maricopa, 62,000 people. They're expected to be 80,000 people in the next 5 years. Nothing but home. Yeah, 2,700 permits were pulled last year in Maricopa. And I've got 2 developments over on this side of Maricopa that are going 1,200 and 2,400 homes each. Robeson, I had him in my office the other day. He's talking about, well, maybe I'd like to put a place down in here, you know, a few thousand acres. He's just speculating, but it's like, oh my gosh, you know, it's just growing like hand over fist. Is crazy. So I've got this very diverse district, and I don't know, you know, the needs of the needs over here are very different from needs over here. So you have to, you know, what's your audience going to be? It's crazy. But I had to get my name known over here on that side. And I'm fortunate that I was on the school board, because I met school district personnel there and their school board. I know the city council well and mayor well over the years. So that got my name out. So that was my key to getting elected. So I just want you to see that that's it. This poor guy here in Region 1, District 1, covers all the way up to Superior, all the way down to Oracle, over to Florence and Coolidge. It's huge. And it's going to get bigger because this population here has dwindled over the last 10 years. They've lost, some of those cities up through the Copper Corridor have lost 14 to 15% of their population. And when you redistrict, you know, it's all based on population. And we're getting ready to do that. And so that district's going to grow. This area right up here, Santan, this has 125,000 people, and they are not incorporated. They have the possibility of doing it, but nobody's voted to incorporate. They got Queen Creek right here. Queen Creek also jumps over into Maricopa County. And by the way, all this white here and here, this is Maricopa County all around it. So this is a crazy, Apache Junction is growing like crazy. You know, we're just in this big boom. We've got Maricopa up to the northwest. We've got you guys down here to the south and southwest, and we're pinched in the middle. So, you know, people growing like crazy. So what do? You know, we have, you talked about Tim Knable earlier, Dave, and economic development. This is I-10 right through here. Let's see, right through here. This is I-10 here, and then up like this. This is the technology corridor coming through here. We're working with ADOT and some other companies and cable companies to put broadband, you know, fiber optic through here, because we're trying to build this technology corridor from Phoenix down to Tucson, and bringing businesses in that want to be involved in that. And this is great because this is Interstate 8 here, by the way. So we are at the middle. We've got Union Pacific coming in this way and coming down this way. We've got the interstates. We've got, so transportation is simple. We have a huge industrial area here. We've got Lucid cars in here. We have other companies that are looking to come to our county, some other electric car companies. We've got battery manufacturers. We've got Nikola, you've read about in the news, been in trouble. They're right in here. They're right in this area here. They're going big guns. They're starting to break ground on their buildings. So lots of things happening. We've had companies, one company with Nacero, they were going to invest $3 billion in us. They take natural gas and turn it back into gasoline. You know, you took oil, you made it into natural gas. Now you're going to take natural gas, turn it back into gasoline. It's crazy. We've got a lot of, out in this area, I've got a lot of farming. Pinal County is in the top 2 percentile in the nation in farming. We have a $2.2 billion industry in farming in our area. Many of you have heard of Pima cotton. You may not be familiar with, Egyptian cotton, all that great stuff for your sheets. Well, Pima cotton comes from the Pima Indians. It comes from Pima County and from all this area out here. This is all cotton fields. We raise wheat. We've got dairy farms like crazy. Some of the biggest dairy farms in the state are here in Pinal County. So we've got companies coming in, putting in digesters. And if you're not familiar with a digester, if you're watching the Green New Deal and all that, we got to get rid of cattle, right? Because they make gas. Oh my gosh, they're going to kill our atmosphere. So what do? Well, you kind of need cows around to make milk and cheese and all that stuff. So what do? You got a lot of poop sitting around. So what you do is you dig a giant pit and you put a building over it. And in that pit, essentially it's like a giant swimming pool with a big pit with a big building over it. And you dump the poop in the pool. It sits there, it breaks down. The methane gas comes to the surface. They take the methane gas from that building, suck it over to a cleaner. They clean it up and they put it in the natural gas pipeline, send it to California so they can run their buses. Kind of that's what we do. That's kind of what we do. So we've got these big digesters all around the county. I was just at a groundbreaking for one the other day out in this area, right out in here. So that's been fun. So, this is a crazy thing. I mean, you're dealing with a high-tech company one day. I'm dealing with farmers another day. I'm dealing with a bunch of retired folks over here. It's a crazy business. I think it's not been a surprise to come into this. It's been very interesting because, in most businesses, and Margie, I know I'm picking you because you're economic development, but in most businesses, say you're running this is terrible. I don't know. You run an auto repair. You're thinking about cars all the time. You're doing this every day. You go there. You're doing this. Oh yeah, maybe you got 20 cars to work on, but it's all kind of the same. You're going down the same focus track. This is juggling chainsaws, golf tees, basketballs, and a chunk of meat all at the same time. You don't know what the heck you're going to come up with the next day. And nothing is linear. It starts, and then 2 months later it comes back to you, and another month later it comes back to you, and you got to try to remember all these things. It's a crazy, crazy fun business. And I think probably the most fun that I have is that I get to go to all these places and see all these businesses. You say, hey, what's that? I don't know. Well, somebody figures out and they get me a tour of it. Right now we're dealing with recreational marijuana. All those codes have come up now. We've got to write all the codes for the city to handle that. Distribution points. We've dealt with it in medical marijuana, but now recreational marijuana is a different cat. And so we've got to deal with delivery is a possibility. That'll come up in 2023. I think it's going to be part of that law. So we have to have rules in place for that. We've got to deal with silly things. Just like in the medical marijuana thing, when they came up with the statutes that said, well, you can have a 2,000 square foot facility. Well, you can have 300 square feet for storage. Well, you can have this. We're making all these decisions in a vacuum. So tomorrow, I get to go up to Phoenix. All of us are going up there tomorrow. We're going to take a tour of a distribution center, and we're going to take a look at a grow house and see what they do. What are their needs? How can the rules that we write, whether you're for it or against it, I'm not for it, but it's here and I have to deal with it. So what are the actual needs of that business? Instead of just saying, well, you can have, again, 300 square feet for storage. Well, what does that mean? How big is your store? I don't know. Well, you can have 1,000 square foot store. Well, can you? Could you have a 10,000? Could you have a Walmart? I don't know. What is the market's going to drive what size store you're going to have or what your needs are. So we need to look at those things, I think, and so I digress. Back to the needs, the way a lot of things come to the supervisors, and it must be that way in Pima County too, is you're making decisions in a vacuum. Everybody comes to you and says, what do you want to do? I want to do this. I want to do this. And you say, oh yeah, that sounds good. Okay, great. Go ahead and do that. But nobody ever takes a look at the data to see what is really needed for budgets, for what department, what company, what the statutes do. We have, I mean, here's a great example. We have RV rules in this county. They said, you cannot stay in your RV. You can have, well, the rule used to be that your recreational vehicle could be plugged in next to your house, but you couldn't stay in it. You can't put sewer up to it, can't do anything. You couldn't have anybody come to your home from out of town and stay in it. You couldn't have your friend drive up in their RV and plug in front of your house and stay in it. Oh gosh, that's terrible. You can't do that. So we've just written new codes that say that if you've got an acre that you can park one RV on it, plug it in, open it up, turn the air conditioner on, your friend can stay with a special use permit. You can stay for like 2 weeks and then you can go. Great. Couldn't do that before. So people were all upset and they'd get code violations, $700 ticket, so you're trying to make these decisions to help people out, to make things better. And that's kind of my thing where I come into it now, see why did I want to run for county supervisor? A lot of the same reason I ran for school board is because I want to make it better for the people that are out there. A lot of my job is helping people navigate through government. I'm a provider of services. They call my office, and back again, our county is only 15% privately held. Everything else is unincorporated. So we're a lot, that's what we govern, is everything unincorporated. So most of the county, 80-something%. Well, we've got Indian reservations and military reservations, but let's say 60% of our county is unincorporated or not ruled by some entity. So we're trying to make it better. These people that live out in some farm communities, we're having trouble trying to get through to somebody at the county. We don't know what to do, who to call. So they call my office, who's, we'll hook you up. Here, you need to call this department. We'll have that department call you. We'll take care of it. Provide services. How can we make your life better? How can we help you through government and get the answer that you want? That's or that you might not, maybe not that you want, but what can help you, because you're not always going to get what you want. I don't know if that's very clear, but anyway, that's kind of why we're here. One of the big problems we have in Pinal County is water and transportation. So transportation, I'll go back there. Transportation in 2000, where are we? 21 and 50, I think it was 16. In 2016, we passed a couple of propositions in Pinal County. 416 and 417. One was for an additional half-cent sales tax to build more roads. We already had one in place that runs through 2025, but another 20-year plan. And the other was, it was to pass the tax, and the other was, do we need the roads? Yes, the roads passed significantly. The tax passed by 0.2%. It was a variable tax, and the variable tax was anything up to $10,000 you pay half-cent on. After that, you pay zero. And Goldwater Institute said, well, that's not really variable. Zero is not a variable. It's not a sliding scale. So they sued the county and prevailed. And so the county then decided to go back and appeal. And so now it's up to the Supreme Court, and we're waiting for a decision on that to see if we're going to get this money. The idea of it is $640 million over 20 years to build more access, better roads, a north-south road from up here in Apache Junction down here to I-10, all the way down to here. Come all the way through. Better access through the town, through the city, through the county. And we need that because we've got a lot of people coming. And they're coming because we've got all this industry coming. As you've got industry coming, the problem we had in Pinal County before COVID was that we basically didn't have any workers. We were at 4.6% unemployment. National labor standards will tell you that 95% is fully employed, so that you had 5% unemployment. Well, we were below that. So what do? These companies come and say, we want 2,000 employees. So we draw from Maricopa County, we draw from Pima County, but we're also drawing from out of state. You've had this mass influx of California, Washington, Ohio, all these people move into the state. Okay, so here you come. So a couple of years ago, we were 100,000 homes short in this state of homes. You cannot rent an apartment. You can't buy a house. I mean, there's nothing. So, that's why these homes are just going up like, like weeds everywhere. That's great, but you bring all these people in, but you have no infrastructure for roads, so you can't get people around the county. You can't get them to the job. So that's a tough one. COVID helped because everybody stayed home, but it only delayed it, and it's going to change the way we do business in the future. But we still have to move these people around. So now maybe we can fix the roads, we can build a bunch of homes, and that's great. But now we've got a water issue, and that's huge. We have the Central Arizona Project, the CAP, coming from the Colorado River all the way down to Tucson. But in the late 60s, early 70s, when all this happened, the farmers in Pinal County signed a deal with the Central Arizona Project that if there was ever a shortage of water, that they would take the cut to their farms. Well, we're going to get a 40% cut in the CAP water this next year, and the farmers are going to take a 40% cut to their water. So part of that deal was when they went on the CAP water, that they would stop drawing from the groundwater. They'd stop sucking from their wells. Well, now, a couple of years ago, they decided, oh, this is going to happen. So they started drilling more wells and going back and fixing their wells. I ran into a guy the other day at one of the hotels I was staying in, excuse me. And I said, oh, what are you up to? And he goes, oh, we're drilling a few wells. I said, oh, a few wells. Well, what's a few wells? I'm thinking 15, 20 wells. He goes, oh, 200 or 300. 200 or 300 wells? Yeah, a lot of them for the farmers out here. And whoa. So we're going to start drawing from the groundwater again. Otherwise, the farmers have to go fallow on roughly 40% of their land. What do they do? And we're a $2.2 billion industry in the state, in the county. What do you do? You've got these homes coming in. So ton of homes, a lot of people use a lot of water. When they do all these groundwater studies, and you see the Tucson area, active management area, the Maricopa active management area, the Pinal active management area, there's another active management area in there someplace. They're all watching all the groundwater, and they run these studies based on today's numbers. If you put a bunch of homes in, it sounds like you're going to use a lot of water, but the average acre of farmland uses the same amount of water in 1 year that 9 homes use, 9 families. So if you could stick 9 homes on an acre, you would use the same amount as growing, say, a wheat field or cotton field. But you can't. So our density is like 3.4 to 3.8 is in our comprehensive plan. So that's like 5,000 square foot lots with open space in a planned area development. So you're using about 40% of the water that you would normally use for farming. Well, that's great, but now you're getting rid of your farms, and you got to grow farms someplace. So then the farming is turning into, now you're dealing with these farm issues. You're going to hydroponics, and you're doing a whole bunch of that kind of stuff. So the water is a big issue for us. We're trying to figure out where to get, how to, and if you're listening to any of the talks, you're hearing about augmenting the water supply. What does that mean? Adding to our water supply. Well, how do you augment water when, it's kind of like, blood from a turnip kind of thing. Where do you get it? The talk has been for years that we bring water up. One of the crazy ideas was to add another nuclear reactor out in Buckeye and send free energy down to Mexico and have them run desalinators and pump the water back up here. That's extremely expensive and regulatory. And now we're dealing with the possibility of helping Mexico with desalination, but then taking the water from the Colorado River, taking a larger portion of their water that they use and putting it to Arizona. Another real fun one is going to the which river? The Missouri River, and running a pipeline from the Missouri River all across the states and dropping it into Arizona. That sounds expensive, but somewhere, somehow, somebody's going to come up with a way to augment our water, or we're going to use a lot less water, or we're going to have, like we did in the 70s in Southern California, we had water rationing. And in the 2000s in California, they had water rationing. You can only water your lawn, in the morning at 2 a.m. for 30 minutes. And you can do this. You can't wash your car in your driveway. You can't do, so something's going to happen And that's going to be a big problem. And a lot of people worry, you know, they hear all this going on. They say, oh my gosh, you know, our water wells, you know, what's the level of the water at our wells? Are we going to run out of water? What's the 100-year assured water supply for this area? If you have a plant, if you have a community that you're living in, and it's a planned area development, it more than likely has the water for the 100 years when it was started. You're fine. What you've got to worry about is all the wells that are going in now and depleting the water table. That's a problem. I know over in the city of Maricopa, they have some of the wells run at like 80 feet, but they've got from 80 feet down to 1,000 feet. And I read one study the other day that said, oh gosh, you know, if you build all these houses, you know, Maricopa could get to be 200,000 people in 15, 20 years. He said, oh gosh, what if we did that? What's our water going to be? Well, the water table would drop probably 20 feet in the next 100 years if you did that, because there's so much water in the Maricopa region over here. But that's a problem. You know, I mean, you're using water, it's a finite resource. So I don't have the answers for that, but we're watching it and being very cognizant of what you do. And I will tell you, like in Maricopa, they have every home that they build now has a gray water line. So they take the gray water from the home, the black water obviously they take and, you know, get rid of, but the icky water, but the gray water they take and then they clean it up and then they water golf courses or, you know, put it in lakes and do all that kind of stuff in the parks. And that's a pretty good deal. So something somewhere is going to come out of all this. We just have to see how we work. Yes, Dave.
Jeff, let me ask a couple of questions here. As I listen to you and I listen to the remarkable complexities of the place, my first question is, how do you keep it all straight?
I have a terrific district administrator.
There you go. And what about your staff? Tell me about your staffing.
My staff is one. I mean, well, two of us. It's myself and a district administrator. Her name is Tricia, T-R-E-C-I-A, Koozer, K-O-O-Z-E-R. She's lived in Maricopa City for 17 years. When she moved there were 6,000 people, and now it's 63,000 people. So she knows everybody. Her first husband was on the city council there, and her present husband is on the police force there. So everybody knows her, and she knows everybody in politics all through the county. It's a great match. So I keep things straight through her. Like this map, I couldn't have figured out how to put this thing on the silly computer without her. So that's great. She does all that for me.
Now, tell me about, we talked before we went live here, you're kind of a road warrior, Jeff.
Yes, I have a lot of time to myself. So Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, typically, I drive from over here, up, across, up here, somewhere in here, up to this, and then back up into my office. So it's about an hour and a half. You know, that sounds like a long time, but actually after you've done it a couple of times, it really isn't bad. I get to think a lot about what's going on. I keep a notebook or I keep my phone so I can do memos and, you know, I'd say, oh, that, you know, and drop it down. Then I'm on the phone a lot. Wednesdays, I spend my days in Florence up here because we have board meetings on Wednesdays, usually 3 meetings a month, sometimes 4. And then if I'm not at a board meeting, that's the central campus for the county. So I go to all the different departments or they come to me and we have a bunch of meetings. So that's about a 45-minute drive up here. And that's, I mean, I don't even notice 45 minutes anymore. But and the worst part is that from about right here to about right here, there's no cell phone coverage. So I'm working on that. I would say, okay, who's the carrier out here? Let's put a tower out here, man. So, but I spend a lot of time, and like, you know, tomorrow I'm going to be in Casa Grande at a Meals on Wheels opening. There's if you're familiar with I-10 going up there, when it turns just after Interstate 8, there used to be an outlet mall there. Well, a Meals on Wheels deal for Casa Grande is going in there. So I'm going to a grand opening for that tomorrow. Then I go to my office in Maricopa. Then I run up into Phoenix someplace, and we're going to go to a grow house and a distribution center. from like, I don't know, 2 to 4 or something. Then I jump back on the freeway and buzz back down to Oro Valley for a Leonard Skinner concert tomorrow night at Gaslight Theater. So, yeah, I sit on the road a lot, but I don't mind it. They gave me a nice company car. I've got a Toyota hybrid, or a Camry hybrid. I think it's like 50 miles per gallon. And, it's not bad. So, but I get to see a lot of the district too, and somebody says, oh, something's going on. So on my way to work, I may stop in Arizona City over here and check something out. Somebody says, hey, well, that's another thing. So the road in front of the street in front of my house, the water doesn't drain. Okay. Well, it's been like that for 5 years. Okay. Well, I'm calling you to tell you about it. All right. So I show up and take a look at it, and then, gosh, yeah, it's a problem. Well, so then I call Public Works, and Public Works comes out and says, yeah, we can fix it for a few $1,000s. Have a nice day. Fix that. The guy's happy. So, but I deal with, you're talking about complexities. I'm dealing with the water issues and, with the transportation stuff and dealing with all that, marijuana codes. I also deal with, hey, the guy next door to me has chickens in the backyard. What are you going to do about that? Well, what's the code for it? Well, the code says no chickens in the backyard. Okay, well, sorry guys, you got to move your chickens. So, whatever it is. I mean, I deal with that. I deal with, hey, the guy across the street has a 68 Cadillac parked in his front yard, no tires on it. Okay, it's called code compliance. Have them come take care of something. Or I also have another one that's really fun. It's a naked bed and breakfast out in, where is that? That's out over in this area, right out in here. And he's managed to upset his neighbors. And so they've cut him, they're on like a 20-acre property. It's like 6 or 8 of them. And they've cut him off from the water well. So they have to, he has to truck his own water in. And then he's gotten mad at them. So he's put up wrapping on his fence. Well, then that brought code compliance out. Then that brought something else out. So then he gets mad and he goes and parks his truck on top of the water well. And then, somebody else. So I get to deal with all that, Hatfield and McCoy stuff going on. The guy next door to me's got trees in his yard. It's like, so what? Well, they're blocking my view. Okay. So, you show up to that and like, well, hi, I'm here. I'm from the government. I'm here to help. What can I do? And you take a look at it and you go talk to the people or get the heck away from there, and have somebody else go talk to them. It's a crazy job. It's like I say, it's a lot of fun because you go get to see all kinds of people and go see all kinds of things. And then, oh yeah, deal with budgets, a few $100 million here and there, what's that, right? So, but budgets are my deal. And I came into this as, we changed the way we do budgets. I come here, this is budget season. And so you go sit there behind the desk, and all of these, we got 52 departments. So 52 departments come and ask you for money. Oh, can we have, 196,000? We have $2 million. Can we have this? Because you got this extra money. And you're supposed to sit there and go, oh yeah, sure. No, well, maybe, I don't know, gosh. So we're changing the way we do budgets. I came to the county with a whole different idea, and they looked at me kind of funny. I said, do we have budget analysts? Yes, we do. We have 2. I said, it's not enough. We need 4. Oh, and we need them to be efficiency experts as well. Oh, I said, because you're the Office of Management and Budget, right? They said, yeah. I said, well, then let's manage a budget. So we're going to, this year we did a different thing. All the departments wrote for what they wanted, and they sent us information. We read about it instead of them coming to talk to us. And we got to decide how it all worked. And this year we were fortunate we were able to give everybody what they wanted and cut the tax rate by 6 cents. 6 cents. That's pretty cool. We've done it 4 cents a year for the last 4 years, and we just did 6 cents this year. But next year we're going to start we're going to have new positions and have the budget analysts go out 2 at a time to each department and go through each department and sit with the director or the manager and say, how do you use your money? And they said, well, what do you mean? Well, don't sit on your pile of money. What do you do? Well, these people do this, these people do that. How do you do your business? What's the most efficient way to operate your department? And that's touchy for a lot of people. But see where we can or cannot cut money, where we can or maybe move people around. Because the last thing you really want to do is hire people, because that's, with a 27% benefit package on top of every every employee, plus another computer, plus a cell phone, plus adding to the IT, it just snowballs into more and more expense. So let's go look at how you do your job and how you do your budget. And then that budget analyst is intimately aware of how that department works. So then when it comes to budget time, these people say, well, here's what we need. And they can say, okay, whoop, go back to you and talk. Do you really need this? Do you need these 2 extra people? Because you're already getting 100% of your job done. Do you need these people? Why? And be able to actually analyze it and tell us what's going on so that we don't have to sit there and make a decision in a vacuum. Somebody knows and can tell us what's going on and really have an intimate look at how the operations work so that we don't have to charge extra money. Because my biggest thing is when a department says, we had our budget and we gave you $200,000 back. Well, that's nice. Well, we've done it every year for 10 years. What, are you getting all your job done? Yeah, well, then why are we giving you an extra $200,000?
Sure.
Well, that scares them a little bit, but let's make it where it's a little tighter, and maybe we can lower the tax rate some more. Maybe we can spend that money someplace else. Get a mental health care facility built for the sheriff's department so that we can keep people from being booked into jail that don't need to be in jail, but really need mental health care. A whole bunch of things like that. That's what we're looking at.
Jeff, let me do a couple things. First of all, if you have questions, go ahead and send them to Kristen and she sends them to me. Use the chat feature, please. We get a question here, Jeff. What is happening with the strip mall on I-10 where it says Phoenix Mart? And we've heard over the years about Phoenix Mart. I don't know where that project stands.
Phoenix Mart, it's a great pigeon house. That's really what it's pigeons and homeless people. That's really what that's all about. That's how we're going to market that. Sure. It's sitting at an absolute standstill. Nothing's happening with that. It's still on the books, but nothing's going with that. They don't want to sell it. They don't want to move on it. There's no money for it. And and now that you've changed the way business works, where everything's internet based, I don't really see a need for something like that in that area, but it's privately held land, and so nothing's going on with it.
Let's talk about the interrelationships between Pinal and Pima County. And, we hear of economic growth in Casa Grande with electric cars, electric batteries. I remember the conversations about the Red Rock yard for the Union Pacific that goes back a decade or so now. Yeah. What are the sort of common subjects that we share between Pima and Pinal? And then do you see the Pinal's growth having other kinds of effects on places like Marana, Oro Valley, and Pima County?
Yeah, so Marana's growing, and they're trying to annex all the way up to the Pinal Airport. So down in here, let's see, the airpark's right about there, and they're trying to annex this area right up in here, right up to the airport. Marana will grow and continue to grow into Pinal County. I'd like to take them over into Pinal County, take the whole city of Marana. I'll take Oro Valley too if you want. If you guys want to do that, I'd be happy to do that for you. I'll work on that. So our growth in Pinal County is spurred by the growth in Maricopa and the growth that you have in Pima County. In housing, for instance, you guys get a bunch of businesses down there. People have to live someplace. Where are they going to live? I call it drive till you qualify. If it's too expensive in Tucson, or it's too expensive up in Phoenix or Chandler or Gilbert, they drive where they can qualify. I can buy the same house. I know, like I can go to Chandler and I can buy a house for like $640,000. I can drive down to Maricopa and I can buy the same house on maybe a slightly smaller lot for about $400,000. It works the same way down in Tucson. You can't get a house. You're going to come up to Red Rock. Red Rock's growing like crazy. I talked with those developers last month, and they came in and they're showing me what their growth plans are. It's crazy. They're building thousands of homes out there and redoing the freeway interchange. The ADOT is going to do that, and then they'll have a commercial strip right there by Red Rock. Ideally with supermarket and some stuff going on. our interrelationship with Pima County, it's tying that technology corridor on I-10 to bring it all the way down, to bring high-tech businesses in. And really, you know, like our development, we look at businesses that don't use lots of water. We don't want businesses that burn tons of water. We're looking for you know, like we don't want a data farm. Data farms are huge water burners because they got to cool those. They got to keep everything cool. So, you know, we're happy to let Maricopa have them. You guys can have, we don't want them. I don't quote me on that. I mean, we want them, but we don't want them a lot. You know, we don't want those kinds of businesses. We're looking for industrial type things. It's just gonna continue to build that transit lane. Businesses in Tucson are gonna be supplying businesses up here in southern and central Pima County or Pinal County. Same thing from the other side of Maricopa down. It's just this interconnectivity. The rail yard, the rail yard you're talking about isn't probably going to happen. They were going to put that right here, was where they were talking about. And now, more than likely, we're putting a rail yard back up. I think it's up here. We're talking about not a duty-free zone, but you know, that kind of thing. So what's happening is like down in San Carlos, they're building a deep water seaport, you know, for containers. And you're going to have rail and truck lines coming up. Well, the rail lines already come up, but coming all the way up and then coming up through Pima County into Pinal County, stopping here, going through a trade zone, and then, you know, out to the north, out to the east. Because you've got the trains coming in from California over here on the west, coming in here, and they'll come up and they'll shift around and then go out. It's going to ease the seaport down in San Carlos is going to ease up on port of Los Angeles and Long Beach, and break that down a little bit for them. You've heard talk of I-11. Yes, I-11 is a big topic. We can't say that in Pinal County. We talk about the east-west freeway, because if we talk about I-11, the feds get all upset because, oh, it's all predetermined. You can't say that. We can't do that. They've completed the EIS one, the environmental impact 1 study. That was done like 5 years ago. We've seen plans of it. They're just coming out with the written version of it. So this all takes forever. The second version is they're looking for funding right now. They need like $45 million to fund from Wickenburg down to Nogales. They've got the plan. Ideally, it comes, let's see, like kind of down this way, and it curves across here and goes through here someplace and drops down, then jumps back on I-10 and mirrors I-10, then goes around Tucson, then goes down 19 and goes down to Nogales. Generally, that's the way. So you're gonna have more truck traffic through there. Consequently, you'll have more industry building up along this corridor. So some of the things that we do here are going to impact what you do there. I don't really have a great vision for how we hook together. I haven't been at this long enough to really give you a good answer for that.
Jeff, somebody's asking about the amusement park and the racetrack, things that we've heard conversations about.
Yes, the amusement park and the racetrack. So that is on Interstate 8 right out here. And it's in, I want to say it's right out here someplace. I can't remember. It's right along 8 though, right here or here. This is on Autumn Nation here. So but it's somewhere along there. They have the biggest holdup on that was water for them. They couldn't get an assured water supply for 100 years, but they have found some water and they still have funding and they have capital. They're ready to move forward on some of it. I'm not sure where that stands in the pipeline at the moment, but I think the racetrack is probably the first part, because my recollection, that has a racetrack. It's got hotels in the middle. It's got a airport strip in the center for private jets. It's got, you know, all kinds of stuff going on, but they still have that in their plans, and there is some capital for it, and they want to move forward with it, but I'm not sure where it is in the game at the moment.
Jeff, are you having fun with this whole thing? You've only been in office now for a few months. Is it enjoyable?
It is fun. Like I say, it's the most fun job I've ever had, because, you know, first of all, it's not me having to worry about everybody's paycheck and insurance and oh gosh, where do we get the inventory to do that? And what are sales going to be? I don't have to worry about that. Somebody else does that. I get to go see stuff and do things and plan out in the future. And that is fun, you know, and talk to people. I think that's probably one of the things I like to do the most, is, you know, go out and meet folks. You know, whether it's on the corner, hey, what do you do? You know, what's your business like? What could we do to help, you know, to help your business? What would make this area better for you to work in? You go get to see things, you know. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
But your golf game has suffered, is that correct?
My golf game is up for years, actually. When I worked for me, I got to play once or twice a week. And that was back in the early 2000s. Then, you know, I semi-retired and thought, oh, I'll go do all this, right? Motorhome trip, I played 3 times in a year. We moved here. I didn't have my golf buddies. And so I probably played 15 times since I've lived here in 12 years. And no, well, a little more than that. But so yeah, it's suffering a little bit.
Is there one sort of overriding impression or learning experience that you've had from serving on the Pinal board?
One over. No. I think really it's being able to help people.
Yeah.
I think that's really the biggest thing, you know, that somebody has an issue and they don't know what to do, and they call you and you can get an answer. I think that's really it, you know. And this position is interesting because, you know, you call some department, you know, and you say, and I just call and say, hi, I'm Jeff McClure. I got a question for you, and they, you know, and they're talking to you for a little bit. They go, oh wait, I'll say, oh, are you Supervisor McClure? I go, yeah. They go, oh, you know, they jump and oh my gosh, just relax. All I just need some information. And they say, oh yeah, no problem. The information's there in like 5 minutes. Or they hook me up to another department, you know, or somebody downstream, and all of a sudden you got this flood of information. But it's cool because you can get all the information you want about anything, anytime, and then you can disseminate that to the people that can't figure out how to get it. You know, I mean, really, a lot of it seems like it ought to be so simple. You know, it's like, really? I mean, we made one phone call in 5 minutes, here's the answer. And they've been calling around for months trying to figure out how to get it because they can't navigate through the system. And I think that's probably the coolest thing.
Interesting. Any other questions people have? We're approaching an hour here. Jeff, I don't know if you have any subjects that we haven't discussed, or maybe I could ask it this way. What can we do as a chamber, as a business community, as residents at large to try to collaborate, to try to work with you, to try to help and understand?
I'm not sure really at this point that there's anything that you can do for me. You know, what can I do for you? I'm going to still hang out. I'm going to come down to your meetings when you start doing the live ones. You know, I'll come out and hang out, and I'll bring, you know, if you want business development come, I'll bring them. In fact, we're looking for a new economic development director now, and you know, and possibly changing the way that department works, because, you know, that's a whole nother story. But yeah, no, when I need something, I will definitely call on you.
Sure.
I know who to get. I've got your number, Dave.
And here's what I think we need to keep putting pressure on ADOT about roads. And, you know, we're finally getting Oracle work done, but that has taken years of effort, and it's in woeful condition.
It was put back by, I mean, if we're going to the state stuff now, yeah. So that was pushed back a year by COVID. And so they're starting on both ends of that and working on it. It's supposed to be finished, I think, by the end of 2022.
Yeah.
That's going along. So for ADOT, yeah. So we've been pushing. Any of you that drive up I-10, you know, it's 3 lanes wide, then squeezes down to 2 lanes wide when you get up when you get up in here, right? Up here by Maricopa. That's because it goes across this little patch right there. That's where it gets skinny is on the Gila River Indian community.
Mhm.
And so we've been working with them. We have been working with them for years, and ADOT has been working with them. And we finally got an approval from the Gila River Indian community to be able to widen that right away through there. And so studies have gone on now for the overpasses that are through here. And so that's all underway. So there is pressure there, and we're working carefully with them.
Yeah, and we know that good transportation is important to economic well-being, and you understand that as well, I know. So, all right, well, here we are at an hour. Jeff, you mentioned live events, and just so everyone knows, we're going to have a networking event, live and in person, this coming Thursday, May the 27th. It's from 8 to 9:30 a.m. at Quail Park at Oro Valley. It's going to be outside. We're going to limit attendance to 50 guests, but we sure hope you'll all come and join us. And I said to Kristen this week, I said, once we start, we're not going to stop. And so we're going to start doing a networking event in person every month. So you all know, we've lifted mask mandates from the CDC, and those have trickled down to local governments. We've cut 2 ribbons this week, and Nancy Jones is here. She came to both of our ribbons, and they were both reasonably sized crowds of 20 to 30 guests, and we weren't masked, and people were comfortable, and there's a pent-up demand to get back out with other people, and we're ready to take part in that as well. So we hope you'll all join us next week and watch for more of these events as we get them put together and announce them. All right, Jeff, you got my head spinning with all this stuff. My goodness gracious. We appreciate you, and we appreciate all you do for impact and for our communities at large, helping the Oracle School Board and now at Pinal County. So thank you for your time, and we wish you great success and anything we can do to help. But you do have my phone number. I think that's right.
I do. I can find you.
All right, great. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks. Have a great day.
Thank you,
Bye.
Jeff.